What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Wednesday, which of course means it's time for another Western York Wednesday here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today, once again, comes from the Grow Brewing Company, and they are out of New Hartford, New York, and this is their Dormancy, the Peach Brandy Barrel-Aged variant. So this is a barley wine style ale aged in peach brandy barrels. It comes in at 14.3% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review. Don't know exactly how old this bottle is, but back on, I think it was July 19th of this year, they announced the release of this along with their cherry brandy barrel-aged variant at their new tap room in New Hartford, New York. So I'm going to say that this is just under 4 months old, and I want to give a huge thanks and shout out to the co-owner and head brewer of Grow, Garrett, for this beer. And that's because back in October, I attended the 2024 Tap and Craft Festival at the Niagara Falls Convention Center in downtown Niagara Falls, New York. And when I walked in and went to the Grow booth, Garrett had a big smile on his face. And he's like, I knew you would come. I got some presents for you. So he gave me a bottle of this and a bottle of the aforementioned cherry brandy barrel-aged variant. And I was like, you know, awesome that he would give me these beers to review because I have not been able to get to New Hartford. It's about a 3-hour drive, 6 hours round trip. So earlier this year, I reviewed the regular Dormancy, which was the Bourbon Barrel-Aged variant, and I kind of lost my shit. Okay, I gave it a 5 out of 5. I went nuts. It's one of the best beers I've had this year. It'll definitely make the top beer list for me this year. Most likely in the top 5, if not top 3, maybe even the best beer I've had this year. So the fact that they released a peach and cherry brandy barrel-aged variant, I was really stoked, but also bummed out that they were exclusives. So huge thanks to Garrett for getting me a bottle of each of these. I cannot thank you enough. It is not going to influence the score of this beer or what I think about this beer. Like I said, I bought that Dormancy on my own, gave it a 5 out of 5. I did, however, full disclosure, have this on tap at the aforementioned festival, and, well, from the bottle he was pouring it. And, you know, I'm drinking 20, 25 different pours, whatever the case may be. I gave this a 4.25 on tap. It was good, but it was kind of weird. However, I'm sitting down by myself reviewing this one. We'll see if it's a little bit better than it was on tap. If not, whatever. But we're going to crack this one open. Now, I did cut a little bit here so I don't have to dick with the wax. We'll see if this comes off as easily as the Dormancy one did. And by Dormancy, I mean the regular. Yep, it's coming out quite easy. And I just left the wax on it when I poured the other one. So I'm using the hashtag proper glassware, but not really. Definitely a big pub glass for a huge 14.3 barley wine, but has the Grow logo, so I got to listen to Joe over at Joe's Arcade, and you know, you got to hashtag proper glassware. What the fuck are we doing? So I'm going to pour about half. That's what I did with the other Dormancy. I'm going to pour about half. Or maybe like, you know, we'll do something like that. We're not going to go crazy. I might be able to, you know, cap this and drink the rest tomorrow, but we'll see. Anyway, in the hashtag proper glassware, that kind of looks like what... So I did go back and look at the Dormancy review, and this kind of looks like that beer. It has that murky, as Matt over at Massive Beers would say, a good friend of mine, fellow beer too, where that, you know, doo-doo water. That brown doo-doo water. It kind of does. Like, it's probably going to be just darker on camera, but you hold it up to the light here, it just has like that murky, deep brown water. Has about a finger of this, like, it looks like a nitro head. I'm not even bullshitting. It looks like, look how it's coating the size of the glass. It looks like a nitro head. It's fucking absurd. That is like a straight on, like, toffee colored, super tightly compact, super creamy looking head. Looks absolutely fucking fantastic in the hashtag proper glassware, but hashtag not really proper glassware whatsoever. But that plays the role of a big... This is like an English barley wine. They list it as American barley wine on tap, but like what I drank of the regular Dormancy, the Bourbon Barrel-Aged one, it was definitely English. Let's get a nose. Wow. It smells very reminiscent of the Dormancy, the base Dormancy, but then quite different. So what do I mean by that? Well, there's a lot of dark fruit and caramelized sugars. I think in that review I said, like, you take a handful of sugar babies, combine them with a handful of raisinets, and then just pour them, put them in a cup, and then soak them in bourbon, and that's kind of what you would get. Kind of the same thing here. Lots of dark fruits, but the dark fruits could be coming from the brandy. I'm getting more of like a raisin, even like a dark grape. A little bit of a figgy date thing, but I say more like raisins and grapes. Maybe a slight like sweet dark cherry. But then caramel, toffee, molasses, things of that nature for sure. Brown sugar. But then the brandy is giving me this. The peach is noticeable in a way of that it's like, it's not specifically peach for me. It's kind of like just a stone fruit, but it has like a sharpness to it. And you can smell this is barrel aged, like it has a vanilla oak thing, but there's also just like a spirit character. It's 14.3%. It smells very boozy, very intense. Yeah, it smells really nice. Now I'm starting to get like, the vanilla is very prominent for some reason in this one. I'm starting to get like yogurt covered like raisins or yogurt covered like different kinds of fruits. Like if you ever had like a yogurt covered raisin or something in that realm, that's what I'm getting more than like the sugar baby and raisinets. It's more like a yogurt covered version of those. Yeah, it has a fruitiness to it from the brandy, but also the fact that it's peach brandy. It smells so fucking good, Jesus Christ. It's almost with the peach, and again, I'm not specifying peach. Like I'm saying, it's more just generic stone fruit. It's almost giving me like a cobbler, like a stone fruit cobbler, peach cobbler, obviously, because of that brown sugar. There's almost like a spiciness that reminds me of like a cinnamon. Holy fuck! It smells super rich and decadent. Does it smell better than the base Dormancy? I don't think so, but it doesn't smell far off. If I gave the base Dormancy aroma a 5 out of 5, this is like a 4.75. It smells fucking delightful. Anyway, I want to get into this. Huge thanks to Garrett for this one. Let's see what this one has to offer. Cheers. Yeah, this is, holy fuck, is way better than what it was on tap. That peach, you know what that peach does for me personally? It kind of livens up the palate. Where the Dormancy, don't get me wrong, it's fucking delicious, okay? Like I said, one of the best beers I've had this year. But this adds a complexity and a nuance to it. It kind of makes it a little bit more drinkable, but kind of strips away a little bit of that rich, deep, complex, decadent feel to it. It's really fucking delicious, though. Body's a bit thin. A little bit thinner than the Dormancy. Don't remember what I said about the body of the Dormancy, but this is like lower side of full body. It's 14.3%. I'd like to see it full body. There's a thinness to it. So that's one critique that I'd have right off the rip. Definitely the body's a little bit thin. And the mouthfeel, the carbonation is like mild to moderately carbonated. It's a little more tepid and flat than I remember the base one being as well, but it's very smooth and creamy. So right off the rip, I think the body and mouthfeel are a little bit lacking in comparison to the base. The taste, however, is immaculate. Forefront. Tip of the tongue. I actually get hit with that peach brandy. Believe it or not, usually I say that the barrel usually hits me midway through the palate to the finish. Tip of the tongue has this tangy, like underripened, almost peach character. Hits me, dies underneath the palate. Comes back later, but it dies right underneath the palate. I don't really get the brandy character. I just get that like the peach kind of feeling. But then I get waves of, again, tons of very complex caramelized sugars and dark fruits. We'll just run over or go over them again. Caramel, toffee, brown sugar is the big one for me in this one. Lots of brown sugar. And then there's like, let's say raisin, dark grape, and then most likely sweet cherry, but I'm not getting as much cherry as I did in the base. Midway through is where the barrel does hit, but it's more like straight barrel characteristics. So it's like it's brandy. So it like amplifies the dark fruits, but then it also introduces that vanilla oak thing where I said like the yogurt covered raisins. I start to get that like midway to 2/3 way through the palate, and then carries on to the finish. This finishes with a pretty big oak tannin dryness or perceived oak tannin dryness. Very dry on the palate. And it gives me that like, you know, popsicle stick kind of like woodiness, tannin feeling that you typically get in a big barrel aged beer that where the oak tannins are going crazy. Very sweet up front, very sweet throughout. What I like about that dryness is it does try to kind of stop this from being cloying, and it succeeds. This doesn't have really any bitterness. It's all about that dryness, that oak tannin dryness. No real astringency on the palate. Like, I know this is a barrel-aged beer. I know it's big. I wouldn't say it's 14.3. Doing this blind, I'd say like 12 and a half. My chest definitely is very warm right now, but the palate, it's hiding it extremely well. as it starts to, and this is straight out of my darker beer fridge at 54 degrees Fahrenheit, but as it starts to open up in the glass, the barrel is starting to kind of take over a little bit. And I don't mind that, but I also don't prefer it, I guess, is because I think I would love to see this base without any barrel character or any barrel aging, just like the base barley wine they produce to go into these barrels, because I think the base is fantastic. I think the base beer is just exceptional. And it's as it starts to open up and kind of warm up a little bit, it's starting to strip away a little bit of the base of the barley wine. This is really fucking tasty, though. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's not, because it is. All right, one more sip, and then I'm going to lock in a rating. This is not as good as the base for me. I gave it like a 4.2 or 4.25 when I checked it in when I had that pour at the festival. This is a bit better than that. However, after the first couple sips, I would have put this in like the 4.5 to 4.6 range. Like, it was that good. But as it opens up and the barrel starts to kind of dominate a little bit, I'm going to have to knock it down slightly. I still think this is in the 4.5 range, but it's on the lower side of a 4.5. As you can see, I'm drinking this. The drinkability for something that's 14.3% on this beer specifically is insane. Like, this is an insanely drinkable beer. But at the same time, I don't think flavor-wise it touches the bourbon barrel-aged version of this one. So, got to be honest in how I view this. Gave it, like I said, a 4.2, 4.25 when I did it at the fest a couple months ago, or I guess a month and a half ago at this point, or maybe even like a month, maybe 5 weeks ago. Yeah, I'm going to give this Dormancy, the peach brandy barrel-aged variant, I'm going to give this a low 4.5 and go 4.4. And the artwork on this is fantastic. I think I'm going to put a couple grow beers behind me on pretentious wall bottles and cans for next year. The base Dormancy is probably going to go up there, and then the barrel-aged and dark bloom probably. But if the other variant, the cherry one, is better than this one, it might go up there too. I don't really know. But I love the artwork of this one. It's absolutely fantastic. Like, the artwork of grow stuff in general is fantastic, but these barrel-aged ones, these just look really classy, plain and simple. Because Grow's a classy brewery, right, Garrett? You're totally a classy brewery. Anyway, this is 4.4 all day long. All right, price point availability again. I got this for free. Like I said, Garrett gave it to me. The base Dormancy, which I bought, was $18 for a 500 milliliter, which is, 16.9 fluid ounces, $18. It's more than $1 an ounce. I would say because this is peach brandy, I would assume this is probably in that range, $18, maybe $20. I would, just like I said with the Dormancy, I'd pay upwards of $25 for something like this. It's a fun beer. This is a beer, though, in reality, you would want to share with somebody because you got a lot of it. It's 14.3%. You don't have to drink the entire thing. I'm probably going to drink half of this and then the other half tomorrow. Or maybe I'll drink it all tonight. I don't know. We'll see. But I would pay upwards of $25, but hopefully this is in like the $18 to $20 realm. So Garrett or whoever watches this review that actually bought this, let me know what you paid for it. And availability, it's Grow. They're pretty much in and around Western, Central New York. I don't know how far downstate they make it, but they were a nomadic brewery were headquartered in Geneva, New York, brewed at Warhorse for quite a bit. I still think a lot of their stuff is brewed at Warhorse, but they have the tap room now in New Hartford, and then they're also going to be opening up a brewery, I'm pretty sure Garrett said, or it's close to being done. And once they start brewing stuff there, all bets are off. But I still put the focus on them for Western New York Wednesday because they still support the Western New York area. That's where they started out. So I'm always going to feature them on Western New York Wednesdays for the most part because I think they deserve it. And their beer is fantastic. So huge thanks and shout out to FLX Beer Reviews, Dan and Mike, especially Dan for introducing them to me and saying how much he liked their beers. And I tried a bunch of their stuff and he ain't lying. So yeah, anyway, if you've had this one before, whether it's the base one, the peach one, or the cherry version, let me know what you think about them. Right now, it's the Bourbon Barrel-Aged version, 5 out of 5. This at a 4.4. We'll see what I think about the cherry. I did think the cherry was better when I tasted and sampled it at the festival, so we'll see if that is still the case. I do like the peach notes in here. I do like the brandy character as a whole. I just think the barrel's starting to dominate. Let me take one more sip just to confirm that. Yeah. So with that last sip, there's almost a tartness now to the beer, like almost like an underripened peach. and there's a more of a fruitiness and like straight on brandy character that you're getting. If that's something that you enjoy, if you like any kind of like fruited brandies or brandy in general, I think you'd probably love this one. Peach is a weird one for me for peach brandy. Like my grandma used to drink like blackberry brandy. That'd be my jam. And I do think the cherry brandy is going to work better. And at the festival, I thought the same thing. But this is still really well done. I just think that as this opens up, the barrel kind of dominates a little bit too much for me to go absolutely nuts about it, but it's still a very well brewed and constructed beer, and I'm digging it. So probably like a 20-minute review, but a beer like this deserves it. I thought this week it was actually Thanksgiving. It's next week. So not on Wednesday, Thursday, clearly. So next week, I'm most likely going to feature a beer from the Big Ditch Brewing Company, maybe one of their Stouts Giving beers from prior years. They're doing it again next Wednesday. I'm going to have to pick up some of those beers. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to shut this one down. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another Western New York Wednesday. Like I said, check back next week for another offering. Huge thanks to Garrett, and congratulations to Garrett and Alana, the whole Grow team. They are killing it out in New Hartford. I still want to get out to the brewery at some point, and when I do, it's going to be a lot of fun, and maybe I'll do it on location if Garrett and or Alana are cool with that. I'd love to show you guys the digs and whatnot, and sample some other beers that they have on tap. So I'm going to shut this one down. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one, cheers. 14.3%, like I said. It's kind of scary, but probably going to be able to drink the rest of that tonight. Should I? Probably not. Will I? Most likely. Cheers.